You finally found the perfect lot. It's in your budget, it's in a good location, has the right size, and even has a nice view. You're so excited to start designing your dream home. But before you ask your architect to draw up the floor plans, you need to make sure that you won't run into problems with your local government. If you don't know this yet, there are laws that govern how you can build on your property. And if you ignore these, you could be forced to tear down what you built and pay a hefty fine. You may not even get your money back from your contractor. And to be honest, you really don't want to end up in that situation. Hey guys, welcome to this channel. In this video, we'll talk about 2 important things that you must know about before you start building your house. If you're new to this channel, we make videos on everything real estate to help you make smarter decisions. Zoning laws. Zoning laws classify land use. Land uses can be residential, commercial, or mixed use. There are even more classifications, but for brevity, let's stick with these 3. This classification tells you what you can and cannot do in a particular area. For example, if you're in a purely residential zone, you cannot run a business from your house, whether or not you have a permit to do so. You cannot even put up a structure that is purely for commercial purposes. If you violate this, the city government can force you to stop construction or even demolish what you have built. Aside from land use, zoning laws also set restrictions on the size of the lot. They determine the minimum and maximum lot sizes allowed in the area. And they also set height restrictions and floor-to-lot ratio. Let me share with you a story of a family in Quezon City who did not check on zoning compliance. They found a piece of land that was classified as R1 zoning, which means it's a residential zone. In this zone, only 2-story structures are allowed. The thing is, they already had a 3rd floor approved by the previous owner. So when they got a loan from the bank made them sign a waiver saying that they will be responsible for any demolition costs in case the 3rd floor does not comply with the zoning ordinance. They went ahead and built the 3rd floor. A few months later, the mayor received a complaint about the extra floors and sent the building's enforcement team to inspect the property. The family was given 15 days to demolish the illegal floor, and they did so at their own expense. We were able to get hold of the family, and they told us that the demolition cost around 500,000 pesos. All this because they did not bother to find out about the zoning laws in the area. But you know, I get it. I get why it's easy to forget this. You see, when you buy a property, especially if it's a resale, the previous owner usually took care of all the permits, and you just continue paying for those permits. You just renew them every year without really knowing what exactly they are and what they cover. That's why it's super important that you verify these things for yourself. Now, you might be wondering, why does the local government bother to implement these zoning laws? Why do they care if you add an extra floor, or maybe open up a car repair shop in your garage? Well, there are many reasons for this, but one of them is safety. Let's take, for example, the height restriction. Have you ever been to a commercial area where most of the buildings are 20 stories high? Most likely, the streets are narrow, and sometimes there's barely enough space for a fire truck to pass through. If a fire breaks out in that building, can you imagine how long it will take for the fire trucks to reach the building and put out the fire? If they even can at all. Imagine also the number of people living or working in that building. In a fire situation, those people need to evacuate. Can you imagine how long it would take for everyone to exit a 20-story building using only a single narrow staircase? These are some of the reasons why the local government strictly implements zoning laws. Number 2, the building code. Aside from zoning laws, you also need to familiarize yourself with the building code. The National Building Code of the Philippines sets minimum requirements for public safety, health, morals, comfort, and general welfare in relation to the structural, fire, sanitation, electrical, mechanical, and accessibility requirements of buildings and structures. The building code applies to all structures except for 1- and 2-family dwelling. So even if you're just building a house, it should comply with these minimum requirements. There are many topics covered under the building code. To name a few, there are setbacks, firewall, rules, and stair dimensions. Setbacks refer to the space between the structure and the property lines. The building code determines the required setback, depending on the height of the structure and the width of the lot. Firewall rules, on the other hand, dictate how far a structure should be from a property line to prevent the spread of fire. Then there is the stair dimension, which dictates the width of the stairs as well as the rise and run of the stairs. Simply put, these rules exist to protect you and your family from danger. Let me give you an example. In most cities, the minimum setback of a 2-story building from the road is at least 6 meters. This means that the portion of the building that is closest to the road should be at least 6 meters away from the property line. This distance allows space for the free movement of vehicles and pedestrians. Now, if the owner decides to build up to the property line, what happens if there's a fire on the 2nd floor? Fire trucks would have a hard time reaching the affected area. If they need to maneuver around parked cars or people who are walking along the sidewalk, they might even need to knock down the fence just to gain access to the property. Not to mention how dangerous it is for the people living on the 2nd floor to evacuate. They would have no choice but to climb over the roof because the stairs or the fire exit would be blocked by the building in front of them. That is why having a setback is non-negotiable. This rule exists to protect the occupants of the building as well as the people around it. So remember, these rules are set to ensure the safety of everyone involved, both for the people living inside the house or building and for those outside of it. The National Building Code can be quite extensive, so it is best to hire an architect or engineer who is licensed and knowledgeable about these rules. In Quezon City, an architect named Manny Tolentino is very knowledgeable about these things. He is a licensed architect with over 30 years of experience, and he specializes in designing houses that comply with the building code. When we asked him what his biggest challenge is, he said that it is dealing with clients who have existing structures that do comply with the building code. His advice to homeowners is to check the zoning laws and the building code before they start constructing anything. We hope that this video helps you avoid common mistakes when building a house. Remember, you don't need to be an expert on these things. Just hire experts to do the job for you. But it is still important that you understand the basics, so you know what questions to ask your architect or engineer. Speaking of checklists, we created a free checklist that you can use to verify zoning laws and code restrictions. It includes everything from determining your lot area, checking occupancy rates, verifying building heights, and much more. You can download this checklist and the rest of the homeowner's guide for free. There's no catch. We just want to help you become a more informed homeowner. To download this checklist, head over to our website, then go to Resources and click on Downloadable PDFs, ULL. Find a link to the Google Drive folder where you can download this checklist and our other homebuyers guides. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who can benefit from it. Subscribe to this channel for more helpful videos like this. Follow us on social media for more real estate insights. Once again, it's me from this channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.